If we have $10,000 invested at 12% interest compounded annually, this means, of course, that we apply the 12% interest to whatever we have at the end of any given year. We obtain the following. Okay, after 0 years, of course, this is our very beginning. We have just $10,000. 12% of $10,000 gives us our interest, which I've put in a column labeled I. That's $1,200. So our new principal, letting P stand for principal, our new principal at the end of the year is going to be $11,200. Now we notice that the interest is 0.12p. That's what this says here. It's a 0.12p in parentheses in red. And this says P plus 0.12p because, of course, how do we get our new principal? We add our interest to our original principal, our P here, plus our 0.12p. So we get $11,200. At the end of 1 year, then, we're going to have $11,200, or at the beginning of the second year, whatever we want to say. But at time t equals 1, the very end of the first year, beginning of the second, we have $11,200. Applying our 0.12 percentage here, we then have an interest of $1,344, giving us a principal of $12,544. And then at the end of the second year, that's what we're going to have. We'll get this interest approximately, I've got a little question mark there, and we get this total. We see that what we get, or what we have at the end of any year, is calculated by, again, adding to the original principal at the beginning of that year, the 0.12p, the interest that we obtain in the year. Now we can do just a little bit of algebra here. P plus 0.12p, we can factor out a p and we get p times 1 plus 0.12, which just gives us 1.12p. This means that to get the interest at the end of a year, where the interest, or where the principal is p at the beginning, we simply multiply that original principal by 1.12, and we get the same thing as if we had added the 0.12. So what we're going to do in any year is we're going to calculate the new principal by simply multiplying the original principal by 1.12p. We get then p plus 0.12p, or 1.12p, and of course we get the same results. We multiply $10,000 by 1.12, we get 11,200. We multiply 11,200 by 1.12, we get 12,544. We multiply that, and it looks like I've skipped a step here. I should have 12,544 here, and then the 13,959 here. So I've got a little error there. Just kind of cross that out and you know what should go there. Now the question becomes, what do I have at the end of t years? Well, we can see that by looking at a big picture here. Again, making the same table essentially, but compressing it even a little further. Of course, at time 0 our principal is 10,000. After 1 year, when t equals 1, of course we'll have 1.12 times 10,000, which is our 11,200 that we're getting familiar with. After year 2, we'll have 1.12 times that. Now, of course, that, the 11,200 that we're multiplying by the 1.12, is itself 1.12 times the $10,000. So that to get this principal, we've multiplied our original 10,000 by 1.12 once, twice. And we have then 1.12 squared times $10,000. We can continue the process at the end of 3 years. I've written this as follows. We multiply 1.12 by what we have at the end of 2 years. Instead of writing the dollar figure, I write what we have at the end of 2 years as 1.12 squared times 10,000. And we see that we get 1.12 cubed times $10,000. And so on. And the pattern becomes very clear. After 1, 2, and 3 years, we have 1.12, 1.12 squared, and 1.12 cubed times our original $10,000 principal. After 2 years, it's clear that we should have 1.12 to the t times $10,000.